There is a mechanic in Leeds who told me something recently that I have not been able to stop thinking about. He said that after 22 years working on British cars, he can tell within 30 seconds of opening a bonnet whether the owner bought that vehicle because they wanted it, or because they did the research. The ones who did the research almost never come back. The ones who bought on badge, on finance deal, on what looked good in the showroom, those are his regulars. He knows their names. He knows their dogs' names. He sees them every 6 months, whether they like it or not. This video is built on conversations with people exactly like him, independent mechanics across the UK, who have no manufacturer relationship to protect and no reason to tell you anything other than what they see on the ramp. What they see consistently is a British car market where the brands with the shiniest marketing budgets are frequently the ones filling up the workshop, and the brands that never run a television advert are the ones that never need to see a mechanic unless it is a scheduled service. That is not bad luck. That is engineering culture. And today, we are going through all of it. Before we dive in, comment where you are watching from and click subscribe. Before we get to the list, I want to be transparent about where this ranking comes from, because most of what you find online about car reliability is produced by the brands themselves or by outlets that depend on their advertising spend. This is built from 4 independent sources: the What Car Reliability Survey 2025, which surveyed 32,000 UK car owners across 227 models; the Honest John Satisfaction Index 2025, which covered over 6,000 UK drivers on reliability and ownership satisfaction; the Warranty-Wise Reliability Index, which tracks real-world repair claims on cars that are 3 years old or more and out of manufacturer warranty, the cars the brand's own data never captures; and the independent mechanics I spoke to directly who see the reality of these vehicles long after the lease has ended. No manufacturer paid for a position on this list. Several of them would rather this video did not reach their customers. That is how you know we are doing this. Right, to understand what is happening in the UK car market, you have to understand how reliability data gets created and who benefits from it. Car manufacturers commission their own quality studies, and the ones they love to quote measure things like how the Bluetooth connects and whether the cup holder rattles, things you notice in the first 90 days of ownership. They are called initial quality studies, and they have almost nothing to do with whether the car is still running reliably at 4 years old or whether the repair bill at 60,000 miles makes you feel physically ill. The data that actually matters, long-term owner-reported faults, out-of-warranty repair costs, the probability of being stranded, is gathered by independent organisations that manufacturers cannot influence. When you look at that data, the league table looks very different from the one in the brochure. MG has sold an extraordinary number of cars in the UK in the last 4 years, and I want to acknowledge why. The prices are competitive, the specifications are generous, and the 7-year warranty sounds like a confident statement about durability. But here is what the warranty does not tell you. The What Car 2024 Reliability Survey placed MG last out of 30 manufacturers. It reported a reliability score of 76.9%, the worst of any brand in the study. The MG4, which is one of their best-selling models, received a reliability score of just 63.8% in that same survey, and finished last out of 18 electric cars in its class. The MG ZS EV saw owners reporting diagnostic wait times of up to 3 weeks at dealerships, and What Car noted that warranty terms were sometimes disputed, with components described as wear and tear rather than manufacturing defects. The service network outside major cities remains thin. MG has around 150 approved service points in the UK, compared to over 800 for Toyota. The 7-year warranty is the strongest argument for owning an MG. The real question is what happens when the warranty expires and you are left with a car whose parts supply chain runs through Shanghai. Mechanics I spoke to are already watching the clock on the first generation of out-of-warranty MG cars, and they are not optimistic. Land Rover is one of the most prestigious badges in British motoring, and I want to say something fair before I say the rest. Land Rovers look exceptional. The Discovery Sport in particular is genuinely practical, genuinely capable off-road, and genuinely one of the better-looking family SUVs on the market. What that does not change is the data. Land Rover came 27th out of 30 manufacturers in the What Car 2025 reliability survey, with only MG, Nissan, Alfa Romeo and Fiat finishing below it. Among Discovery Sport owners specifically, 36% reported faults, the most common being engine electrics, air conditioning failures, and infotainment system problems. 1 in 5 of those cars was off the road for more than a week waiting for repairs. Over 45,000 Discovery Sports were recalled for an electrical overload problem with the 48-volt system. Timing chain failures, diesel particulate filter issues from short journey use, crankshaft pulley failures, and water ingress causing electrical system shutdowns are recurring themes across owner reports and independent mechanic feedback. The Land Rover reliability rating on RepairPal places it 31st out of 32 car brands. Servicing costs are significantly above average. Independent specialists can reduce the bill, but parts remain expensive and lead times on genuine components can be substantial. The badge costs you twice, once in the showroom and once repeatedly in the workshop. The Vauxhall Corsa was the least reliable car and the worst overall for owner satisfaction in the 2025 Honest John Satisfaction Index, with a score of 80.93%. 1 in 5 Corsa drivers reported reasons to question the car's reliability, compared with 1 in 50 for the Lexus NX. The Corsa Electric and Mokka Electric were the brand's lowest scorers in the What Car survey, with the Mokka Electric finishing joint 29th in its class. Vauxhall came 26th out of 32 brands in the 2024 Driver Power survey. The irony is that it sits within Stellantis, the same group that owns Peugeot and Citroën, which are scored 5th and 6th respectively in the same ranking, often sharing the same mechanical underpinnings. Mechanics note that Vauxhall electrical gremlins on the Corsa and Mokka ranges are disproportionately time-consuming to diagnose, because fault codes are often non-specific. Often you may sit in the workshop for 2 days, and the mechanic will tell you they cannot reproduce the fault. Then it happens again on the motorway. Alfa Romeo is a car that makes mechanics feel complicated feelings. Let me say something true about it. An Alfa Romeo drives better than almost anything at its price point. The steering is communicative in a way that German alternatives are not. The styling is, for certain models, genuinely beautiful. And then you look at the reliability data, and the 2025 Honest John Satisfaction Index places Alfa Romeo at the very bottom of its brand reliability rankings, with a score of 76.67%, the worst of any manufacturer in the study. The What Car 2025 survey placed Alfa Romeo consistently below average across its range, with electrical and engine faults the primary complaints. Dealer coverage is thin. There are fewer than 100 Alfa Romeo dealers in the UK, meaning that if one is not near you, a warranty repair can involve a substantial journey or a long wait for a mobile visit. Parts availability is a persistent issue that independent mechanics raise consistently. When something goes wrong with an Alfa Romeo outside the warranty period, the repair cost relative to the car's residual value is one of the worst calculations in the market. Nissan presents something of a paradox in the UK reliability data, and I want to be precise about it because the brand is not uniformly bad. The Nissan Leaf has consistently scored well across multiple years of reliability surveys, and is one of the more dependable electric vehicles you can buy in the UK at its price point. The problem is the rest of the range. The Nissan Juke, one of the most popular cars on British roads, placed at the absolute bottom of its class in the What Car 2025 survey, with 60% of faults costing more than £1,500 to fix, and only 30% of cars repaired for free. The Ariya electric SUV had a 39% fault rate in the same survey, with 56% of those faults rendering the car undrivable. Nissan finished second to last in the brand reliability table, directly above MG. The Qashqai another enormous seller in the UK market, has generated consistent owner frustration, particularly with electrical systems and the dual-clutch transmission on certain model years. The brand has also reduced the proportion of repairs it covers for free. Only 79% of UK Nissan owners had their faults fixed at no cost, compared to 95% across the market. The Leaf is worth keeping. The rest of the range at the moment is worth approaching with significant caution. Jeep has perhaps the widest gap between brand promise and brand delivery of any manufacturer sold in the UK. The promise is capability, durability, adventure. The reality, according to the Warranty-Wise Reliability Index, places Jeep among the highest risk brands for out-of-warranty mechanical failure. The Compass and Renegade have attracted consistent criticism in UK owner surveys for build quality, electrical faults, and maintenance costs through the dealer network. Mechanics noted that Jeep parts are slow to arrive, expensive relative to what the car is worth, and that independent specialists are rare outside major cities. For the average British family who bought a Compass because it looked purposeful on the school run, the data is not kind. Fiat was placed in the bottom 5 manufacturers in the 2025 What Car Reliability Survey, with the 500 electric scoring just 91.9% well below its petrol equivalent. The United Kingdom dealer network has contracted to fewer than 130 outlets, meaning any repair outside a major city requires either a long journey or a long wait. What concerns independent mechanics is the electrified transition, where reliability has not matched what the older petrol engines managed, and where parts availability and warranty service quality vary sharply by geography in a way they should not. Before we get to the brands that mechanics would actually put their own money into, drop a comment right now. What car do you drive? And have you ever had a repair bill that made you genuinely reconsider your choice of badge? My guess is that a significant number of you driving the brands I just covered are going to say yes, and I suspect a meaningful portion of you are going to say it happened within 18 months of the warranty expiring. That is not a coincidence. That is engineering and warranty architecture working exactly as intended. Toyota has finished in the top 4 for UK brand reliability in every major independent survey for the last 5 consecutive years, and the reason mechanics recommend it is not complicated. The Toyota Corolla scored 96.94% in the 2025 Honest John Satisfaction Index, and it ranked first overall for reliability in its class. The Yaris achieved a perfect 100% score in the What Car 2025 survey. 0 faults were reported by owners. The RAV4 Hybrid recorded one of the lowest drivetrain failure rates in the family SUV segment. Mechanics like Toyota because it is engineered for serviceability. Components are accessible, parts are inexpensive, and parts are available within 24 hours from a wide network. The hybrid system, which many people assume is complex and expensive to repair, has in practice proven to be one of the most durable drivetrains on the market. Toyota UK has one of the most extensive dealer and approved service networks in the country, with over 180 franchise dealers and a further network of approved repairers. The one genuine caveat is that Toyotas are not exciting cars. The mechanic I spoke to in Leeds put it plainly: boring is what you want. Boring keeps money in your pocket. Honda ranked first in the What Car 2025 Reliability Survey, the first time in 7 years, driven by strong performances from the Civic, HR-V and Jazz. The Jazz has a reliability score of 96.81% in the Honest John Satisfaction Index and is what mechanics describe as almost uniquely self-sufficient. With a simple engine, a proven hybrid system, parts that are cheap and widely stocked, and a service schedule that rarely produces surprises, Honda has stayed independent, avoiding the platform-sharing alliances that reduce costs but introduce shared failure modes, and that independence shows in the data. The CR-V scored 95.96% and was rated among the most practical SUVs in the UK. The genuine weakness is that it is not exciting to look at, which is why it does not dominate showrooms. That is, in the mechanic's view, entirely the point. The Honda exists to be driven for 12 years and 90,000 miles without drama. Mazda is not as immediately recognised as Toyota or Honda, but it competes closely with both in the data. The CX-5 scored 95.2% in the 2025 Honest John Satisfaction Index, placing it alongside the Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4 in the family SUV reliability rankings. Mazda's engineering philosophy deliberately limits electronic complexity. That approach favours simple engineering. The brand has resisted the pressure to load every model with systems that can fail, and that require specialist equipment to diagnose. The CX-5 and CX-30 have naturally aspirated petrol engines in certain configurations, and mechanics describe those engines as among the most straightforward to service of any modern SUV on sale in the UK. The one caveat is resale value, which sits slightly below Toyota and Honda at similar mileage, though that gap narrows considerably once you account for lower lifetime service cuts. Skoda should not work as well as it does, and for a long time it did not. Before Volkswagen took ownership of the brand in the early 1990s, Skoda was a punchline. Today, the Skoda Karoq scored 97.69% in the 2025 Honest John Satisfaction Index, second only to the Lexus NX across all models in the survey, and the brand sits in 5th place overall for UK owner satisfaction. The Skoda Octavia is what mechanics across the country mention when someone asks for a reliable family car on a sensible budget. It shares engineering with the Volkswagen Group, including Golf-derived underpinnings, but it achieves higher reliability scores than the Volkswagen Golf in multiple independent UK studies, partly because it is spec'd more simply, and partly because Skoda's dealer network in the UK handles warranty and post-warranty issues more efficiently than some of its Volkswagen Group siblings. The Karoq specifically is what a family SUV looks like when the engineering priority is long-term durability, rather than maximum feature loading at launch. My local mechanic owns one. He has owned it for 4 years. He has serviced it twice. That is the only visit it has had. Hyundai and Kia deserve a mention alongside the Japanese brands because the data puts them there. Hyundai offers a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty on all new cars because the engineering data gives them the confidence to back it. The Tucson and Kona consistently score in the top 10 for UK reliability. Kia's EV3 achieved a perfect 100% reliability score in the What Car survey this year. The Korean brands 20 years ago were budget options nobody took seriously for long-term ownership. In 2025, they are what informed mechanics recommend when someone asks for Japanese reliability at a slightly lower entry price. Here is the rule that mechanics use, and I want you to write it down. Before you buy any car, ask 3 questions. How much does the most common fault on this model cost to fix outside of warranty? How long does a UK dealer take to source the part? And what is this car worth at 80,000 miles? Those 3 numbers tell you everything the showroom brochure will not. A car that looks affordable to buy can be extremely expensive to own, and a car that looks expensive to buy can be extraordinarily cheap to own over 5 or 7 years. The total cost of ownership is the number that matters, the sticker. Price is theatre. If this video saved you from buying a car that was going to spend more time in a workshop than on your driveway, subscribe to Ripped Off Britain right now, because next week we are going inside the UK new build housing market. There is a major house builder operating across England right now that has been named in more than 4,000 snagging complaints in the last 2 years alone. Buyers are moving into homes with structural defects, missing insulation and drainage systems that do not drain. The MHBC warranty that is supposed to protect them excludes more than most buyers realise when they sign. I will name the builder. I will show you the complaints data. Subscribe so you do not miss it.